This is the I Am Redemption podcast, and today I am very honored to introduce our special guest. He is two-time world champ, Mr. Jesse James Leija. Sir, I cannot tell you how excited I am to be sitting here with you today.
Thank you, Shawn. Appreciate you.
Beautiful ring, beautiful gym you got here. It's an absolute honor to sit down with you. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. And these whole past 2 weeks, I've been watching your fights and reading up on you. Again, such an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Me and you talked a little bit on the phone, and you just told me one brief story that was pretty wild, but a lot of the people that I have come on the podcast, they come from all different walks of life. This is the first time I've been blessed to be able to talk to a fighter, and I follow fighting pretty closely, and so I don't know, one thing you always hear about people that get into fighting is, there's not a whole lot of people that come from means that decide to get into a fighting. There had to be a reason that you first decide to want to step in the ring and then pursue this as a career or anything like that. So where did this all start for you?
Well, they say fighters come from, good fighters, good fighters come from where they don't have money. They have to find a ways, ends to make things happen. Their family came from not much money at all, and they fight to get somewhere. I didn't have that. I had a great childhood. My parents both worked. We got everything we wanted. Mm-hmm. We had go-karts when we were 10, 12 years old, go-karts and mini bikes, and we wrecked them. My parents would get us another one. We were spoiled kids. My parents spoiled me, my brother, my sister. I had a car when I was 15 years old. My parents bought me a car when I was 15. We weren't rich, but we were family, and we had each other, and my parents, they always said, as long as you work hard and you do good things, we'll get things for you. And sometimes we were dumb and silly, but when I was 18 years old, I got in trouble and was put in jail for 36 hours. And when I was in jail, I said, I can't do this to my parents, man. I'm not this type of kid. What am I doing? I said, I got to do something with myself. I said, my dad used to be a fighter back in the 60s. He was a very good fighter, but he didn't want us to fight because of the obvious head trauma, getting hit, no money, the whole bit, and he didn't want us to fight. And so, but when I was there, I said, I'm gonna get myself in shape through boxing and maybe join the fire department or the police department, do something. And that's why I started boxing.
Really?
And I was 18 years old.
So your dad was the inspiration, you think, for you to first get in there?
Well, that wasn't the inspiration. The inspiration was just be better and be a better person and get in shape so I could either go to the fire department or the police department or something. I had to be better than what I was doing. I wasn't a bad kid.
Yeah.
I just did something stupid, but I needed more in my life. Right. I needed more structure. I needed more a goal in front of me to reach and be a better person.
Right.
And but my dad was against it. My mom was against it as well. They said, no, you're not gonna box. We don't want you doing this. And I said, well, I'm gonna use it to get in shape. Mm-hmm. And 2.5 years later, I'm in the Olympic trials. And so it just happened by accident or by luck, whatever it was. And then after that, I turned pro in 1988.
At what point, from when you started boxing, just to get in better shape, at what point did you kind of look around and realize you're like, oh, I'm good at this? Well,
the first 2 fights that I had, I lost.
Okay.
And I said, well, this ain't going the way I thought it would go because I thought I was better than that. And there's divisions too. When you first start fighting as an amateur, there's a novice, which is 10 fights or less. There's an open division, which is 10 fights and more. And those are the two that you pick from. Well, obviously I didn't have any fights, but I went straight to the open division, which is 10 fights and overs. And I lost because I thought, well, they were telling me, you're a pretty good fighter, you're doing pretty well. And I said, okay. So I said, let's go to the 10 fights and over. And I lost my first 2 fights. But after that, it was, something happened where I just kept winning and getting the best out of myself and boxing. But the whole thing was, I was still thinking, when I'm done with this amateur thing, after I'm done with the Olympic trials, I'm still gonna try to go to the fire department or the police department.
Right.
And during that time, when I'm in the Texas Golden Gloves, and during that time, one of my trainers introduced me to a manager in Dallas. And he met me and he said, nice to meet you. We didn't talk much. He just said, I'm gonna watch you fight. and I made it to the finals. And he saw me fight, and then not too long after that, he contacted me. And the funny thing he said, when he was at my house with my parents, and we sat down. Lester Bedford's his name, from Dallas, and he sat down with me and he said, "James, you may never win a world title, you may never become a champion at anything, but if you keep your name clean and you have good work ethics and all that, maybe someone will hire you if this doesn't work." I'm a good kid anyways. I was good,
Yeah.
I said, well, that's easy. Just do the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And 17 years later, I retired. And, I was lucky enough to been where I've been and fight where I fought and fight the fighters that I fought, win the titles that I won. And I always tell people, man, they always tell me, you're so lucky, you're so lucky. And I say, you're right. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Right.
And that's been my motto forever. The
Right.
harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah. I feel there's many times in my life now, because it's such a drastic difference from where I was for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the best way I can explain it is, like, I just keep doing me. Whatever I do, I was telling you before we started the podcast, everything I do is with a chip on my shoulder, because like, I want to prove to people my past is not what defines me. Like, that's not who I was. And so now it's like a point to prove, and I just keep trying to help people, keep putting good energy in the world, and the blessings keep coming. And so I have no other reason to not continue down the same path.
Yeah, I'm just trying. For me, I was just trying to be the best person I could be, the best fighter I could be. Now, ever since I've been married, I've been trying to be the best husband, the best dad. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the best I can be with anyone, with everyone. My clients come in the gym, and I give them 100%, because that's the best I can give them, is my best, and they feel happy about it. And no one leaves here unhappy. Everyone leaves here happy because of the workouts that they get. Mm-hmm. And boxing is a different animal. It's a different animal for people. It's life. I say it's life. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have great days, but it's not always the same. Something's gonna happen. You're gonna get hit in this life, and then in real life, you get hit. You get knocked down. Dust yourself off. Let's go again. Come on, next round. Let's go.
Right.
And that's how even when I lost in my fights, I always felt, okay, I'm better than this. I can't wait for the next one, because I'm gonna win. I'm gonna prove myself. It's all about proving myself, proving to myself that I'm better.
Yeah, I agree.
That's right. Isn't that feel like?
Yeah,
I can be better than this. I didn't give 100. I should have given 100%. Something happened. It wasn't my time. Sometimes you just have bad days.
Right.
Sometimes we just have bad days, but they don't last long.
Right. There's different kinds of people, and it seems like when those things kind of, like you're talking about, when those happen to me, for a lot of people, like negative feedback or bad reviews or whatever it is, it can crumble a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, I feed off the negative. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's like, I'm the one. I'll prove to you. I'm going to show you. I'm competitive and all that. And so, like, that's, once you find, as a fighter or even just in life, once somebody finds what fuels them, for one person, you might have one coach that is, more of authoritarian and is screaming at you all the time, and you might crumble into that. But then you might have a coach that's uplifting and positive and doing that for you. I didn't do good with that. I needed somebody talking shit to me and like keeping me going.
Yeah, but that voice in your head says, "I'll show you."
Yeah, right.
I'll show you. And I think I was that way too. Is that I've learned through my teachings of boxing and mental toughness and positive thinking, that I've learned that for every negative, you overcome it with 10 positive thoughts. Mm-hmm. So every time I'm it was happening every single fight. People thought, okay, this guy's a fighter, he's gonna be. Every single fight that I had, a negative thought came into my mind. What if?
Right.
What if he hits me and I get knocked? What if he does this? What if I lose this fight? What if it's not my night? What if it's just a bad day for me? What if this guy has a lot of power that I can't keep? That all those thoughts for weeks and weeks and weeks, for every fight it happens. At least to me it does. Mike Tyson would say, walking into the ring, he was scared as hell walking into the ring. He was like, what if this happens? Oh, this guy's strong, this guy's big, he's tough. And then he gets to the ring and says, come on, let's go. That's what happens. Once you step in the ring, you're in fight mode. And you're in reaction. It's go time. That's what happens. So if Mike Tyson was scared before his fights, little me, I'm gonna be scared too. Right. But it's just normal. It's a normal instinct. It's a fighting instinct for me.
Right.
And you know, and the training that I did and the positive thinking that I always did to myself, you know, thinking to myself, I'm not gonna have a bad day because I've done 8 miles of running every single day. I've trained this many. I did 300 sparring rounds. I did all that. I'm gonna be good.
Right.
And so I've learned that for every negative thought, you have to overcome that with 10 positive thoughts, because that negative thought is so strong.
Yeah.
It gets you, eat at you. But I always had to overcome it with 10 positive. No, I've done this. I've dieted the right way. I've been training for 10 weeks. I've eaten everything I'm supposed to eat. I run every morning. You overcome it with that.
Trust the process.
Yes, trust the process,
Right.
and work hard.
Yeah.
Like I said, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Right. What is it like, let's say for some of your bigger fights? I mean, you fought Oscar De La Hoya, Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward. You had quite a few fights. What is it like there's TV cameras on you, you're in the dressing room. Like, what is going through your head from the dressing room, walk out to stepping into the ring? Like, I'm sure it's got to be a million miles an hour thoughts.
Oh, yeah, it is. But, I mean, once you get to at the beginning, one of my big fights was on NBC TV. And I was like, whoa, my God. A lot of people watching this fight. And
are you aware of that? People are watching it on TV?
Yeah, you're on NBC. It's national TV. So I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be a huge fight for me. And you just know, and you build it up, and then the what ifs come in.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, then you overcome it with positive thoughts. But it's just nerve-wracking. But then after a while, for me, I always thought, I just have a different job. It's just work.
Right.
It's just work for me. I'm a hard worker, but this is just work. It just puts me in front of a camera. But I'm not working, I'm not any better than the news guy out there. I'm not any better than the guy picking up the trash. I'm not any better than the maintenance guy sweeping. I just have a different job.
Yeah. Right. Very well said. So for like the Floyd Mayweathers and the Conor McGregors of the world, they never let you see that other side of the scared side. Do you think people like that?
Yeah.
Do you think they have it?
100%. Everyone has it.
Floyd Mayweather walking out to the ring never lost?
Oh, he has that fear of losing too.
Wow.
Yeah, he had more of that because that's all he talked about.
Yeah,
was not
you're
losing.
right.
So
You're
he
right.
had to train. Think about Floyd Mayweather. He trains harder than any other fighter in the world.
Right. I've seen his stuff where he's waking up in the middle of the night going
2 or
for
3 in the morning. He
runs.
calls his guys, let's go run. We're on it. And they're, oh my God. Now they know why he's so good, because he works that much at it. Like I said, the harder you work, right?
Right.
And Conor McGregor, but all that too, people love to see that.
Yeah,
the
bravado.
Talk, the bravado. They love that. But we all have it. I could put on like that too.
Right.
That's not my character.
Right.
I don't need to do that.
Right. That's good though, because you're never having to act. You can always be authentic, always be yourself.
I am, I'm the same. The way you see me now is the way I'm at home, the way I'm at business, the way I'm at, playing with my kids' basketball. I'm the same way. I'm competitive. I'm a winner.
Right. Love that.
Even if I don't win, I'm a winner.
Right.
Wait till the next one.
Yeah.
You beat me in basketball when we play basketball here.
Yeah.
Guys beat me. I say, okay, let's play again.
We're gonna be here playing until you do.
I don't care how long it is.
I like it. We can get a game of one-on-one after.
I'm fast, bro. I'm fast.
You?
Yeah.
I'm not fast anymore. I'm not fast. So when you're going into fight camp, how long does fight camp last? And like I'm sure it changes everything you're doing, but what does a typical day in fight camp look like?
Well, so the trick is, and what happens is a lot of fighters come into fight camp to get in shape for the fight. And fight camps last 6 to 8 weeks, right? Because you go away somewhere and you're secluded. Most guys, some guys keep it in San Antonio. Well, most guys keep it in their city, but some guys go out of the city or stay in the city, but keep it enclosed or just to
keep distractions out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Keep distractions out. So I was at a point where I was always going to Florida, going to Atlantic City for 8 weeks, and sparring and training. But the trick is to get in shape before you get to fight camp. And when you're in fight camp, you're in camp.
Right.
A lot of guys go out of shape to fight camp and get in shape while in fight camp, but they're losing all that training because they're trying to get ready for the fight. I mean, they're trying to get ready for their weight. They're out of shape. But it was 8 weeks to 6 weeks, and you get in camp in shape, ready to go, and then you start training hard.
If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready, right?
Exactly. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But a lot of it's about weight. For me, I'm a small guy, but I have a lot of mass. I lost 20 pounds or 25 pounds for every fight in my career.
Really?
Every fight. And I always usually had 6 to 8 weeks to do it in.
Okay.
Because fights come up, hey, you ready for fighting 2 months? Oh shit, I'm 20 pounds off. Let's get ready. And so I had a schedule of what to eat, how I ate, how many it was a 1,200 calories a day diet,
right.
Working out 3 times a day just to get my weight down. So and sometimes, hey, when I fought Shane Mosley, who is one of the top fighters in the world, pound for pound, I had 21 days to get ready for him, and I had to drop 17 pounds in 21 days.
Was that your hardest fight camp?
Yeah, because all I did was try to get my weight down. I was running twice a day, working out, boxing once. It was the worst thing in the world. It was the closest thing to death that I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, it was almost.
Were you trying to drop water too, like sauna suit,
everything? I'm a small guy. I had to drop 25 pounds and 20 pounds in 3 weeks, and so I was just about dead. Going into the scale, I was dying. My wife, after the weigh-in, I went back to my room. I think we fought in Atlantic City. I went back to my room and I'm laying down. My wife's crying and putting ice bags on me, and I'm just like, I can't do this. And she goes, don't do it, don't fight. I said, I made weight already. I said, give me something to eat. So I started eating, and then one of the biggest compliments anyone ever gave me, is a few months ago he put on Facebook that I get one of the toughest fights at 135. He stopped me in 9 rounds, but he said I get one of the toughest fights at 135, and I'm like, oh my God.
Really?
And I told him, if you only knew what I had to go through. He goes, oh, we knew. But it's just I won, kind of, right? In myself,
right.
In my soul, even though I lost the fight. Man, I was so proud of myself.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's good.
Short notice fight against Shane Mosley, drop that weight?
Yeah, that's the fight that I had. So I always tell people I had 2 fights. I had to fight the weight, and then I had to fight the one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What, I'm sure.
So that's when I said, even when I win, even when I lose, I still win.
Right.
For me, that was a win, kind of an attaboy thing, or be proud of yourself, because not everyone knows what you go through.
Right.
People just see the end result and what's happened, but they don't know the journey.
Yeah.
And I always tell people the journey is the best part. The journey is the most amazing part of everything.
Absolutely.
Not the finished product.
Right. I believe that too. People have asked me before what I would go back and change about my past so that none of it happened, and I've said this probably 20 times on the podcast, but I know I needed to go through all that stuff to be who I am today, and I wouldn't change that for anything. So I would do it all over again. Sorry for anybody I hurt along the way, but I needed that to get here.
Well, those are those accident parts that happened that didn't mean to happen.
Yeah.
But you still become who you are because of what happened.
Right. And your outlook, it's, there's a lot of people that you lose a fight and they're not able to pull any positive out of that. If you could still find positive in that negative, like, there's nothing worse than seeing, a grandparent or an older person, start to get old and they're just mad and bitter and stuff like that. But if you live your life the way you're living it right now, and you get to that point in the end and everything's been positive, it's two completely different people you're looking at.
Yeah, and I think that I'm just I think I'm the richest man in the world.
Right.
I got it all.
Yeah. I love it. I'm sure boxing's taught you many, many, many lessons, but what would you say is the most important lesson you've been able to take from the art of boxing?
Man, my dad was amazing, but I think one of the best things my dad ever said was about being tough. He said, I told this to all my clients. I got clients in here that are millionaires, basketball players, lawyers, doctors. Kind of everybody in here, right? Mm-hmm. It's mainly businessmen and women. I got stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads. Got a little bit of everything. But when my dad, and I tell these guys that, they're like, look at me, kind of. I have so many of them, but one of the best ones I like, because everyone wants to be tough, and I always tell them there's a fine line between being tough and stupid. Mm-hmm. Tough guys want to get hit, they want to go fight, that's dumb. It's stupid, right? Even fighters, tough fighters are dumb fighters because they're gonna get beat up so bad, and they're not gonna have much afterwards.
Right.
Maybe it's luck. Maybe I got lucky, but I didn't want to be a tough fighter. I want to be a smart fighter. Right. And my dad always used to tell me that. Don't be a tough guy. They come out last.
Right.
Even if you come on top, you can come out last.
Well, I mean, you can see that on firsthand with Floyd Mayweather, how he went from pretty boy Floyd,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden he got smart and switched that up. And I mean, it's the art of boxing.
Yeah,
Don't get hit.
That's the key. And even I tell guys that are fighters or they're trying to slug it out. I said, who's the highest paid athlete in the world? They say Floyd Mayweather. I said, okay, what does he do? Is he a slugger or a boxer? He's a boxer. And why are you trying to slug?
Right.
Do the things that people have done before that are successful.
Ego.
Yeah, they all want to be a tough guy.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
It's a dumb guy, right? I tried to be tough. I wanted to be smart.
So I don't know if people can see behind me. There's a picture of your son on the wall behind us, and that's you training him.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So what you? I don't know if we said it on the podcast or we said it before, or no, we said it on the podcast. Your dad didn't want you fighting.
My dad didn't want us fighting at all, my brother or myself.
And so what do you?
He was a fighter. So my dad was a fighter, and he went through all the stuff that happens in boxing. You know, you don't fight, or they're stealing your money, or you're not getting paid where you should get paid. And something. I think my dad was just fighting just to make some extra money.
Yeah.
But he was the first San Antonian to ever make it to the National Golden Gloves finals.
Really?
The first San Antonio in 1958 or 59.
Right.
The first guy. So that was pretty big back then. And he was well known. He had a good record as a pro. But back then, he was just fighting to make money. He wasn't fighting to be the best.
Right.
They didn't have the right trainers, didn't have the right managers. They put him in a fight, that type of stuff. So when when it came out for me to start fighting, he didn't want me fighting because he didn't want us to go to that road. My mom's a nurse. My mom's been a nurse since she was 15 years old. Mm-hmm. She's 81 years old, and she still works.
Oh, really?
As a nurse. She's an ultrasound tech, and she's like what we look at and say, that's what I want to work. I have to keep up with my mom. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to work as hard as she does. And my dad, too. They're both great workers, hard workers, and just trying to keep up with them.
Right.
And so, anyways, my dad didn't want that happening but when I went to Olympic trials, and after that, right before I started training as a fighter, my dad said, no, I don't want you fighting. It's not right. It's too tough or whatever. I said, I just want to do it to get in shape. Yeah. So and I bought a heavy bag on my own because my dad didn't want to train me. Mm-hmm. So I bought a heavy bag, put it in the garage. I started hitting the heavy bag on my own just to get in shape. My dad would come out and look at me and says, maybe you want to keep your hand up a little bit, and then walk back in.
Right.
And I'd come back out. And the next day he'd come out, maybe you would do this, and then walk back in. So he saw something, but didn't want to tell me that, hey, you're getting pretty good.
Right.
He saw something in me. And then maybe about a month or 2 months later, he came out and said, you know, if you're going to do this, let's do it the right way. I think you have something. I said, okay, let's go. And we went to the gym, and he was my trainer for 20-something years.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So what do you say then when your son comes to you and tells you he wants to get in the fight?
Same thing. I said, James, I worked so hard. I fought all these fights so you never have to fight. And, you know, sometimes, like you said, we have to fight for ourselves. Mm-hmm. We want to fight. We want to feel that. We want to go through it. And he was very good at it. He was probably better than I was, just technique-wise and everything else. That smart kid. It was just after I told him, I'll train you, but you got to graduate from college first. He graduated from college, and I had to train him. But he had so many fights. So training all this time, imagine going through a fight camp for 8 weeks, getting ready for a fight, and then you get to the weigh-in and the guy doesn't show up, or stuff happened, or whatever it was. He just got fed up with it. He goes, oh, this ain't no way of doing that.
Yeah, so, I don't blame him.
Yeah, he was 3-0 as a pro, but had like 5 fights fall through. And you still train for all those fights, you know. You got paid, but it's not the same. You want to fight.
Why do you think, and I'm not getting you to say anything bad about boxing or anything like that, but why do you think, is it because there's WBC and like all these different things that boxing is the way it is, as opposed to just coming together as like one sport and one federation?
Or, you know, that's true. It should be like one sport, like the NFL or NBA.
Yeah.
It should be, and hopefully one day it will be, but I doubt it because there's too many hands in the pot. It's never gonna happen. But it's almost like MMA. Mm. Who's the king? UFC.
Yeah.
All the other guys are here, right? Bellator and all these other guys are here, but they can't all be UFC. But UFC is monopolizing the MMA.
Right.
And they're not being fair to all the fighters. They're not paying the fight. That's why a lot of these guys are leaving to go box to make all this money and then go back, whatever it is. But all the sports have that thing because they're not regulated by one. Except I'm saying MMA and boxing don't have that one regulation by one entity,
Right.
and that's what it hurts.
Yeah, it's crazy to see these, these MMA guys go over, and every single time they fight, there's one of these boxing matches, the headline is always the highest payday they've ever had.
That's the biggest payday they've ever made, and that's unfair. But that's UFC taking control, and Dana White making the money.
Yeah.
And he pays his fighter. They make good money, but not
Right.
compared to a fighter.
Right.
That's why they go to boxing and they come back. Boxers, it needs to be regulated by one entity.
I feel like if they did, then everybody wouldn't be so fixated on these celebrity boxing matches that have never been good.
Yeah, like the Jake Paul fights.
There's never been a good. I've never wanted to watch replays from it or anything like that. I want to see professionals do it. But so, how do you feel about the celebrity guys doing this? And
like Jake Paul, I don't blame him. If you're gonna do something and people are gonna pay a lot of, you make millions, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But don't call it a sport. Don't call it you're a great boxer. Don't call it that until you fight a great fighter.
Right.
Or fight a decent fighter. He hasn't fought a decent fighter yet. But don't call yourself a great fighter or a great champion when you haven't even fought a fighter yet.
Right.
Just call it what it is. It's a celebrity type boxing, whatever, but it's not a real fight.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only thing I have against it. Or people don't call, I'm gonna go and watch Jake Paul, he's a great fighter. Don't say that.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Right.
But I don't blame the fight. I don't blame the Jake Paul.
No, get your money.
He's making his money.
Yeah, get your money for
He's
sure.
making his money, yeah. I blame the people that are behind him.
That's what it is. All the casual fans.
Yeah.
They'll come out for that, and then all of a sudden they're boxing experts or something like that. Like if I go to watch a UFC fight, Conor McGregor brings out all the casual fans.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there chirping in my ear, and like they see him on the ground or whatever like that, and they're like, "Oh, make him stand up." I was like, "You don't understand what you're watching. Like, it's not. This isn't boxing. It's not just a slugfest like that."
Well, I have a funny story, and my wife might get mad at me for this, but so the other day, the Chiefs were something about the Chiefs were playing, or they were gonna play, and what's the defensive end for the Chiefs?
Chris Jones?
No, that's Dayton.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, right? And Patrick Mahomes, my wife came on. They saw them on TV. She goes, "Oh, Taylor Swift's gonna make these guys famous." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's the thing." You know?
So I don't know if you've seen, but there's videos all over social media right now of wives and daughters going and telling their dads and husbands and stuff like that, like that they're gonna make Travis Kelce famous, and then you see these guys go, "Oh my goodness!"
That's exactly, maybe my wife did that on purpose, but
Maybe.
she said that, and I was like, "What?" I said, "They won Super Bowls already without Taylor Swift."
Right.
Because but she's gonna make them famous.
Right.
And like, I think she did that. Maybe she did that on purpose. She probably saw that.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. He's the best tight end in the game.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. She did that.
Taylor Swift's making them big. Yeah.
Damn. What who were your, I'm growing up a fan of boxing, but like who were your inspirations in boxing? Like who were the people that you looked to or like tried to model your game after? Or did you have anybody that you really?
I think, early on, when I first, obviously I started boxing because of my dad,
Yeah.
Well, my dad was always been my trainer, the guy I looked up to. I listened to everything he said. He knew exactly what to do. When I would question him, like, "Come on, Dad," whatever, it would always turn out I was wrong.
Yeah.
He was right because he knew he had experience, and he was just my dad was a good trainer, not just me, but just the other people that he would train and help out. They all loved my dad. But besides my dad, I always looked at Marvin Hagler when he was fighting in the '80s, and that's one of the reasons I shaved my head too.
Oh, really?
Because I loved that look that Marvin Hagler had. But he was one. Boom Boom Mancini.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Yep.
Let's go.
I even told him that you're one of my inspirations. He goes, "Oh man, that's great too." I've met so many of these guys that Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, all these, and growing up and watching these guys fight, because we're always boxing fans. I didn't box, but we were boxing fans. So my dad boxed.
Right.
And so we watched all these guys, Ali. And the thing is, I got to meet all these guys that were my heroes when I was young, and hang out with them. Hung out with Ali for an hour in his hotel room with he and his wife, and I'm like, wow. This is after I retired, and I'm like, how much better can this get?
Yeah.
I met Ali and hung out with him. I have pictures of him looking at me eating grapes and looking at me while I'm talking, and him and his wife were just sitting there. It changed my life again. This is after I retired. I retired in 2005,
Oh, really?
and I met Ali in 2005 at their hotel room, and And I was like, oh my God, I gotta be a better person. I just gotta be a better person. And I was, I'm a good person, right? And I just gotta do more in the world. I gotta do more in the world because I'm not doing enough.
That's true inspiration right there.
Yeah,
When he's pulling the
by
best out of you.
meeting. So when you meet Ali, and it's written in books and stuff, he makes you feel like if you're the star.
Oh, really?
I don't know how he does it, but when you're with him, he makes you feel like if you're the star because he's like this, he's talking to you, he's doing all this stuff, and he's just looking at you and listening to everything you say, and he starts shadowboxing with me. I have a picture where he puts his hand on my hand on his chin, and I'm like, man, I shouldn't be doing this. This is Ali, right? And he goes, no. He's like, I was like, oh my, it's like, I left there in shock.
So being a champion yourself, who would you say were you like? Ali, I would imagine, but like who else were you like starstruck to meet?
Marvin Hagler,
really?
Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, all those guys.
Yeah.
So we hang out, when we have events or we at the Hall of Fame in New York or wherever we're at, we all hang out as a fraternity. We're a fraternity, we're brothers, but to be around these guys, Evander Holyfield sitting across from Riddick Bowe, and they're telling, I should have beat you here. Man, I hit you so hard, your papa felt it. And they're just going back, and when I'm right in the middle, listening to everything, I'm like, oh man, these guys are crazy. But that's just the way it is, the fraternity. We still pick at each other, and we still, Azuma Nelson, who I fought 4 times, we still hang out. Whenever we see each other, we hang out, we talk, we sit down, our parents or our kids talk to each other, and it's great.
The one fight, I watched one of the fights you had with him, and it was the least I've ever seen a referee have to interject into a fight. Like, I don't remember one time where he came and broke you guys apart.
Yeah.
Was it just your guys' styles that matched up so perfect?
It was the styles, yeah. We fought 42 rounds, 4 fights, 42 rounds, and every one of those rounds, every one of those minutes was painful and hard, and just you thinking about movements, because think about it, we fought that many times, we know each other well. And to try to, it's like playing chess with someone. What moves are they gonna make? You play this guy all the time. What moves can you do now that he won't know about? And it's just so much strategy going on that you're like just overthinking everything.
Right.
And we became like best of friends.
Really?
Just that we admire each other. We both, and matter of fact, we fought 4 times. The first fight was a draw. The second fight I beat him. The third time he stopped me, and then the 4th time I beat him. And so it's like, we're over for boxing. We're gonna go down as the big fights that went down, and we were 1-1 until the 4th fight.
42 rounds.
42
rounds.
That's
wild. Is that the most?
No, I'm sure there's other guys that fought more than that, but I don't know. Maybe not. 4 fights is a lot.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, they usually stop at 3, but you guys had that draw in there, so they had to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your favorite place you ever fought?
I fought Costa Zoo. Well, here's the story. So one was Australia, when I fought in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
And I fought Costa Zoo. Tough fight. We all fight injured, so we can't. But it's just a tough fight. But the other one was in Madison Square Garden when I fought Oscar De La Hoya. The fight, Oscar was a beast, and he was, I went up in weight to fight him. He was just, no one else wanted to fight him. I said, I'll fight him. I don't care. I want to fight him. Because that's how I'm going to test myself. That's how I'm going to test my ability. I could beat anybody. I could beat most people, but I want to challenge myself. I want to be the best. And we always say, I'm going to dare to be great. I don't want to just coast and fight these. I want to fight the toughest guys out there. So anyways, I fought Oscar in Madison Square Garden. But when I get into the ring at Madison Square Garden, I get into the ring and I'm looking around and I see all these movie stars across. And I'm like, wow, look at all these stars. I
saw Magic Johnson there. There was a bunch of people.
Exactly. And I'm like, the thing that came to my head is, if these people only knew what it took for me to get here, I wouldn't have been fighting for 6 years. 6 years. I started fighting. Oscar started fighting when he was 6 years old.
Right.
And that, to me, it was that, man, you worked so hard to get here, and you've worked your way up to this point. And it was a thing like, you did well. And I said, come on, let's go fight. And you flesh it out, you think about it, you let it go, and you go and fight,
Right.
And Oscar was just, obviously too big, too strong, too everything. Just a great fighter.
Yeah.
Too much power. But for me, that after that fight was sort of like, man, you're on your way.
Right.
I lost, But I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going.
No, but you fought Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah. And the thing is, people don't understand how strong he was.
Yeah.
He knocked guys out at 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160. Can you imagine how strong he was at 135?
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was in that many weight classes.
Yeah.
I wish other organizations like the UFC would do more weight classes like that.
Yeah, there's not enough. Yeah.
So you guys don't have to cut so much weight.
Yeah.
Would you say it was Oscar the best fighter you ever fought?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I fought so many good fighters too. I fought like.
Yeah, no slight on anybody,
Yeah,
but whoever you thought.
I think he was the strongest, and obviously he's strong and long reach and power, a lot of power. But Shane Mosley was amazing too,
bet.
man. He was speed. Shane Mosley beat Oscar twice. I believe he beat him twice. I believe it was twice. Maybe
think
once,
you're right.
but I think it was twice. But that's how good Shane Mosley was as well.
Right.
But Oscar just had a lot of power.
I have a question I've been waiting to ask you. And so my stepfather and I have this endless debate we've had for years.
Mm-hmm.
And so the movie Rocky, right? That was originally based on a real boxer, was it not?
Yes.
Do you remember his name? I forget it.
I could.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Name of the boxer.
But it's based on the true boxer.
It was the exact story, and he was a big white guy.
Yes, and he had to pay him money. He paid this guy money.
To fight Ali.
Yes. I could see the guy's face, but I can't think of his name right now.
Right.
Yeah, but it's based on that fighter. Matter of fact, Sylvester Stallone had to pay the guy a few million.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah.
I read all that. My stepdad is trying to tell me that's not true. I was like, I'm telling you, it was a real
It's
guy.
true, yeah.
Has there ever been a movie that you think, or what do you feel is the best movie that they've ever done about boxing?
Boxing, The Raging Bull.
Raging Bull's your favorite?
That's the best boxing movie ever.
Is it?
Yeah, ever. I like the first Rocky was great.
Right.
Maybe the first two, but nothing. The Raging Bull was just so realistic that it was scary.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with De Niro.
That's a man, but you think about what he went. I mean, what he went through. It just. I think it was a guy that was fighting because of the pain he had inside and was fighting. And it's so many things that happen in real life, and it just the fight scenes were perfect, and it wasn't fake. It didn't look fake.
Yeah.
It's just probably the best. That's probably the best movie ever.
I haven't watched that in a long time. I need to go back and watch it.
It's a great movie.
My wife had never seen it.
And Jake LaMotta, who's
Yeah.
based on, right? The Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Jake LaMotta.
Right.
I got to hang out and meet him in New York, and he was already in his 80s, and where the Hall of Fame's at, he owned the restaurant right down, and he would always be there.
Right.
I have pictures of him, and he's about my height. And I'm like, wow, this guy was a beast.
Damn.
This guy was a beast.
What
Chuck Wepner.
That's what it was. Chuck Wepner.
Yep, fought Ali.
You're right. Good call, Chuck Wepner. So, when my stepdad watches this episode, you heard it from an actual champion and pro
Yeah.
tell you that
It's true.
you were wrong. Do you say through your boxing journey, did you ever like face some adversity at some point where it was kind of like a rock bottom moment for you?
Yeah, for years. The first 6 years, the first 5 years, 6 years of my career, there were so many times that my wife was working, I was training, and she was keeping us afloat with her paycheck, keeping us afloat. She had a pretty good job. And I was like, I would tell my manager, I can't fight anymore. I'm done. I got to get a job. I got to help my wife out. He goes, oh, here's $1,000, just hang on. Here's $1,000, hang on. We'll make it up. But when I fought, I had to give him that $1,000 back, and then I'm broke again. In the next 3 weeks, I'm broke again because I'm making what, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 at the time, which just went like that because I had bills piled up. Right? We had a baby, the whole bit. And I was like, the first 5 years, I was like, I can't do this. I would tell him, Lester, I can't fight. I want it, but there's not enough fights going around. I need to. Baby needs food. We need to pay rent.
Yeah.
Here's that $1,000. Here, come on, stay with me. And then here's a funny story too. I was struggling the first 4 or 5 years, but I think on the 5th year, I had this fight, and it was on NBC. I fought Troy Dorsey from Dallas, who's a world champion boxer and a world champion kickboxer. at the same time.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Greg fighter out of Fort Worth. And we had a fight, and it was on NBC TV. Huge, right? It was like, if I won this fight, I was set.
Right.
Thinking back then, right? So I win the fight. I stop him in the 5th round. Big fight. Like, everybody around the world knew me, right? On NBC, right? And I win the fight. I come back home. My wife's at home. What about at home? I said, you don't have to work anymore if you want to. She goes, really? I said, no. She goes, I want to raise the boys. I want to raise our son. I want to be home. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I said, you could do it now. You know how much I got paid? $25,000. But back then it was a lot of money for me, right? Back then it was 1991 or 1992. That's a lot of money for me.
For sure.
And shit, I was only making 1,000 or 2 or 3 over the time. The most I probably made back then was 7,000.
Right.
I made 20,000 or 25,000.
I'm rich.
I'm rich.
Right. Quit your job.
Yeah, quit your job. She had a good job,
Yeah.
but until since then she's never worked in a job. She has the hardest job in the world, which is staying at home, taking care of the kids, taking care of me, taking care of the house. That's the hardest job in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't want to do that job. They go and get a job.
Right, for sure.
And so that was funny for 25,000. Now I go through 25,000 in a month.
Right. So that's your rock bottom. Did you have a moment?
That was my rock bottom through boxing.
Right.
Not making it, not just sacrificing it. My wife sacrificing it, and there was times when I'm at home and we're going out with my brother and my sister. We're gonna go out and have dinner. I'm telling you, trying to find change and dollars here and there just to go and have dinner.
Yeah.
We went through that. Let's get some. Here's $10. Here's $5. Here's a couple of dollars, and we're going to have dinner somewhere. We went through that for a few years.
Right.
But man, those are the best times.
Yeah.
The journey was great.
Right. I've said it numerous times, but I think Mike Tyson quoted it, and he said, "Without the what did I say? I forgot it. Oh no.
Without the struggle or something, there could be no.
Without test, there is no testimony.
Yeah.
Without the test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why now today, I said earlier, it's blessings. Like, I'm so appreciative of the people that have come into my life, and I'm so appreciative of every good thing that happens to me, because for so long, the way I lived my life, there was no good in it, and I put bad energy out in the world, and I got it right back. So that was your rock bottom moment through
my career,
through boxing.
Those years of barely making it and struggling and trying to find change here and there, just to go and have a dinner with friends or family. But struggles through my job in boxing, but still having great times.
Yeah.
Like I said, the hardest times are sometimes the best times, because you find out about yourself. You find out what you have. You find out who's gonna be your partner.
Yeah. Do you have a rock bottom moment in life that you'd be willing to talk about? Because I'm sure a lot of people see, professional boxer, fighter must have made a ton of money. He doesn't go through anything. What's his rock bottom? And they have no idea.
We all have rock bottoms. And I have had rock bottoms. One of my things it's not my rock bottom, because it turned out to be my best thing that ever happened to me. But is when I was 10 years old, I found out that I was adopted, and that for that a month or so, it was a rock bottom for me. But after, when I realized that it was the best thing that ever happened to me, it turned out to be the best thing in my life.
Right.
Who I am today, what I'm about today, and the career I've had, the respect I have around the world,
right,
or country or a city, is all because of what happened. Because of I was adopted to family.
Right.
But
because of who ended up raising you from that point on?
Yes, because of my parents.
Yeah.
My parents, and there's no difference. One of the toughest things, I was thinking about this the other day, one of the toughest things one of the best things that ever happened to me is that, my brother, my sister, and I, we fight all the time. Like regular brother and sisters fight all the time, right?
Right.
But they've never said anything like, well, you're adopted, you're this. They've never said that. And to me, it's like, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Right.
I got great brother and sister. I mean, to me, I think about that all the time.
Yeah, that's family. I have two brothers and two sisters that are half, and anybody, we've never said that to one
Yeah,
another. We've
it's
never
not-
even brought it
yeah.
up. Other people will say that, and
Yeah.
no, that's my brother right there. That's
I'm
my
just-
that's my sister.
I know different. I don't know any difference. That's my brother, my sister. We
Yeah.
have blood. We have the same blood. I don't care what anyone says. We
Yeah,
do.
for
But
sure.
that's how I think, and that's to me. That's the like you said, the rock bottom of my life and the best thing in my life at the same time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. My stepdad, he came into my life. You know, my dad left when I was 2, and my stepdad came in probably, I think, when I was 8 or 10 years old. And you know, the thankless job of a step parent dealing with somebody else's kid, and I put him through absolute hell.
Yeah.
But every good part of me today is because of that man. Like, you know what I mean?
And he never gave up on you.
No, never turned his back on me. He was there. He treated me like I was his own.
And just to say, and I think this has happened to me too, is you may have turned your back on him, but he didn't turn your back on you.
Right.
Meaning you're not this, you're not that, you're not my brother, whatever. But he stayed true.
Yeah, for sure.
That's tough.
Yeah, blessing. He's
Yeah.
he's an angel. So what do you have a redemption moment? Do you have we've heard the rock bottom. Do you have that redemption moment? Either you just took a look around and you were like, oh, I made it, or like maybe something that happened where you felt was like, all right, I'm back.
I don't know. I think it's I just have a fighter's mentality. I'm gonna fight for anything I want. I think that's my moment. It's to when I know like there's no negative in me. I'm gonna do it. I don't give up.
Right.
I don't give up. I don't give up on family. I don't give up on friends. I don't give up on anyone. I'm gonna give you 100%. That's my redemption. I don't give up. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm a fighter
Yeah.
for good,
Forever.
for my family, for my friends, for my business. You gotta fight, my friends. I'm gonna fight for you.
Right. So what does life look for you today? You've had this wild ride, professional prize fighter, and all this stuff. What is life looking for you like right now?
You know what's funny is that I've been retired longer than my career.
Have you
I fought
really?
for 17 years. I've been retired now 18 or 19.
Really?
And I was like, it was 2005, so I don't know the math on that. 2005.
Doesn't it feel like 2005 was like just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it went like that. So I started my own business, and then my sons help me run the business now. We're all partners in this gym. We had 3 gyms at one time in San Antonio. We closed them all down, made this big one. Now we're thinking of expanding to different cities. We're talking about it. We train the Spurs. We train, everyone.
Right.
We train everyone. We get everybody. We give someone what the sport gave to us: respect, clear minds, great healthy bodies, hard workouts.
Right.
Give you a little bit of what life's about. A little bit of knockdown. You get just a little punch here and there. It ain't gonna hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Make you tougher.
Right.
We get kids who are bullied, teach them not to be bullied anymore. We get bullies in here to teach them how not to bully anymore, because there's always someone out there better and bigger.
Right.
And it's there's some tattoos out there that say life is boxing, boxing is life. It is.
Yeah.
And I may get knocked out 8 times, but I'm gonna get up 9.
Right. Definitely.
That's what or get down, whatever. I don't care how many times you get knocked down, just get back up one more time.
Right. So for me, fitness and running, it played such an important part of my life. When I got sober, I put so much energy into the hustle of getting high every day and getting money and stuff. I still had that energy when I got sober, and so I needed to find somewhere. Thank God that I got into running and fitness like I did. But a lot of the people I work with, and especially some of the younger people, when I talk with their families, and I push them to get into jiu-jitsu, have them get into boxing, have them get into that, because I wish I would have more when I was young. I wish I would have gotten in that, but and I'm not a father, but you see how people that are trained to fight, like they're the majority that I have met, they're the most calm, polite, like people. They're not walking around bullies just because they know how to fight. And it seems like it's because that they're confident in who they are, and they don't need to walk around like that. And so they keep it humble. They don't want to fight. They don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
And then the people you get with in the gym and having that camaraderie and stuff, I think only positives can really come from it.
One of the best thing for me. So I always tell people, my titles now are people losing 10, 15, 100 pounds, 75 pounds. Those are my title wins. Those are my wins now. When I see someone walking around and said, man, I lost 80 pounds, I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Hard work, boom, high five. Everybody's claps. It's just amazing. But to see people win in life like that and feel good about themselves. And even kids, like I said, kids who are bullied and come in here and say, man, those kids don't bully me anymore. It's not, the kids didn't change, they changed. I'm not gonna let you bully me anymore.
Right.
You're gonna have a fight in your hands now.
Right.
Or just the attitude or the look. You know, someone looks at you, you ain't gonna bully me anymore, come on. Whatever, I don't like fighting. I always tell people, I don't get paid to fight outside, I get paid to fight in the ring.
Right.
I don't like fights outside.
Yeah.
They're not fair anyway. But just to have that confidence in yourself.
For sure.
To protect yourself. I call it protection. You gotta protect yourself.
Yep.
I call it insurance, just in case something happens.
So I've been a personal trainer for like the past 5 years, and I work with people in drug and alcohol, their recovery, and so it's trying to help them adopt that new healthy lifestyle and take all the energy that they put in the bad, put it in the good. And you talking about your title wins, you know, I have one client, his name's Steven, and he's like my title in a way because I watched him lose 70 pounds. I watch him, you know, the person he walked in and I first met, and he was quiet and timid and all that stuff. And now he's cracking jokes, he's confident. I watched him, you know, he's dating an amazing woman. I see them at the gym all the time. They're building a life together. I watch him get a career, but he was ready when he came in. He didn't ever question me. He didn't ever talk back or anything. I'd show him an exercise, I'd take him through a workout. He would stay for an extra hour afterwards, go over every exercise that I show him, practice the form until he got it perfect. Then he's up doing cardio. And it's people like that this is why I do what I do. Because I know they're getting what I got out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I see other people that may have more talent or be more genetically gifted in the gym or something like that, and they don't look at it with the same passion as what he did. And it's those people I like want to shake. I'm like, you're missing all the good shit. You're worried about what you look like in the mirror. You're missing all the life lessons that you can get from this and the discipline and structure.
I tell you, we have so many people in here like that are successful businessmen, like the top businessmen in San Antonio, come in here and I treat them like I would treat anybody. You're no different than anyone. When you come in here, you're a fighter trying to learn how to fight. I don't care where you come from, what, how much money, it does not matter. I'm gonna treat you like I'm gonna treat any one of my fighters, because now you're my fighter.
Right.
And they come in here and they give their best every time. And when they walk out here, they say, thank you, I needed this today. And man, to hear that, like, wow, like I'm doing something good. And I attaboy them, I attaboy myself, but those are your wins. Those are what you fight for now, for these people to get because you felt it. I felt what it feels like to get the best out of myself. And I've teach these people to do that, and they're doing it.
Right.
They feel great about them. Some wives come up to me, thank you so much. I said, for what? My husband's such a nicer person now when he gets home, or vice versa, right? And they just love it because you leave all that stress from the office or from wherever in the gym into the bag. I have to hit the bag, put all your stress into the bag. Let it sit in the bag. Don't take it home with you.
Right.
And they do. And
it's therapy.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's the best. I have people come in and say, this is the best therapy, and it's a lot cheaper than real therapy. You know, like going to the doctor, and it's the best.
Yeah.
And I get to be part of it.
Right. I tell people all the time, I could be driving to the gym in the morning, and somebody could cut me off, and I'm ready to go. I'm MFing them down the road, ready to hop out on it. Same person could cut me off when I'm leaving the gym, and I'm just like, whatever. They're in a hurry. Hope they get there.
Well, you know, there's just it's funny that you say that, because there's a story that I tell that I've read somewhere where there's two guys. One's driving home from work, stressed out. He almost gets into an accident. Someone put out for him. He cusses the guy out, yelling at him, rolls his window down. How dare you? I almost hit you, whatever. Gets home, slams the door. His wife and the kids come up to him. Get away from me. I don't want to be messing around with you. I'm so mad. He goes into his room and he's upset. Another guy going home, almost gets into the same accident, honks at the guy. He says, oh my God, I could have killed myself. He goes home, opens the door, hugs his wife and kids.
Yeah. It's powerful. Different ways you can look at things in life and handle yourself.
It's that easy.
That's beautiful. Sir, I can't thank you enough for the time you did with here today.
Thank you, brother.
The
Appreciate
story.
you, man. Thank
This
you.
was an absolute honor. One of the things I like the way to wrap up the podcast is called the I Am Redemption podcast. And my goal is to get people to understand that we all have this life experience and to understand that it's a gift when you can take that experience and use it to help people.
Yeah.
And so you've told your story here and people know you, but I'd love it if they knew you a little bit more. And so if you would be so
Okay.
kind, if you take a look in the camera
Yeah.
and let them know who I am.
So I'm Jesse James Leija. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. 5'5", 150 pounds of pure steel and sex appeal.
Let's go. Let's go.
But I'm the good guy, and my redemption is that I love to give back to the people in San Antonio.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that.
Thank
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That might be the best I am anybody's ever said right there. That was the best one of any podcast. Twisted steel and sex appeal, is that what you said? Love it.